management systems is that we are to have made full payment in the amount of $57,031 by Monday, February, actually that would be Monday, February 9th of 2026, I apologize. With that amount, the Lorain County Commissioners have put out a press release earlier today saying that the assertions of the...
And here's the human element. The community steps in, offering to pay the lease themselves. This is where bureaucratic drama meets real-world impact. It's a reminder these numbers affect lives, morale, and trust. Would you step up if your local deputies were at risk of losing their vehicles?
Lorain County Deputies Association and my office were incorrect. Well, I'm here to dispute those facts that the Commissioners have put out regarding the Enterprise Fleet Management Program. First of all, the Fleet Management Program is a program which is operated by the County Commissioner's Office and is adopted by many of the offices of the elected officials here in Lorain County, the Sheriff's Office being one of them. Back in 2025 at the end, we had met with the Commissioners, Commissioner Riddell specifically, and Casey Saunders, who is the Budget Director for the Commissioners, about our 2026 budget. Prior to that, in November, we had informed the Commissioners that the amount of money needed for the line item budget for Enterprise would be about $600,000. If anybody wants to go back and watch that YouTube video from our budget hearing, you will hear the Commissioners state the line items look fine, and it looks like we can live within this. Then what happened was that this $600,000 is actually based on a 2024 contract that the Commissioners have signed with Enterprise regarding providing fleet vehicles to Lorain County. The Commissioners then, without our knowledge, lowered that $600,000 line item down to $346,000 in the lease item obligation. Of that $346,000, we were finally made aware of this in January. What happened was, too, is that the Commissioners also alleged that their Deputy Administrator, Karen Perkins, had a, quote, brief call with Enterprise Fleet Management regarding a $13,583 balance that we had at the end of last year. Well, we didn't have brief calls with Enterprise. My administrative assistant, Angela Hammond, had several calls with Enterprise stating that due to rising cost over the budget in 25, we were going to be short $13,500 on the budget for the Enterprise project. We had reached out to Enterprise and had come to an agreement with Enterprise that we would make that $13,583 payment in January of 2026. That was agreed upon by Enterprise. What we received yesterday was a letter from Enterprise, which is a notice of default. So much to the chagrin of the Deputy Administrator, Karen Perkins, it does say in here that we were supposed to take the vehicles to an address in Middleburg Heights, Ohio, to avoid any transportation fees, late fees, or anything else that the Sheriff's Office would be responsible to. This was in order that they were repossessing our vehicles if we did not pay them by Monday, February 9th. So with that in mind, I also want to be making you aware of is that the funds that the Commissioners alleged that they approved in December of 2025 were not made available to us until January 19th. With that, we created a purchase order for $600,000 to Enterprise. That was because we were told that the line item was fine back in November. So what happened was that this shortfall was realized and that we had to create another purchase order instead of the $600,000 to $346,000 to realize the amount of money that the Commissioners stated was available to us. In addition to that, the Commissioners stated that the budget was approved in December of 2025. Well, then why were we still having recorded and also documented budget meetings until January 14th, when we were requested by Commissioner Riddell and Casey Saunders to adjust our fleet management budget? We already thought we were at $600,000. So therefore, they say the budget was approved on the 19th of December. We were meeting again on January 14th after this budget approval process. We cannot make payments based on the purchase orders that were originally approved until this morning. We did not receive purchase order budget approval authority from the Commissioner's Office, Budget Office, until this morning. We then immediately reached out and spoke with the Lorain County Auditor's Office, and what I am in possession right now is also 2 checks that will be sent via probably FedEx to Enterprise to make the payments in the total amount of $57,031, and we will make that payment today. In addition to that, I raise this issue and ask you to come here today because we do have an issue going on in Lorain County right now, which is disagreements between many of the elected public officials in the county and the county commissioner's office. This was no more made coming to light than a Cleveland.com article yesterday that Commissioner David Moore demonstrated that the budget cuts to the Lorain County Auditor's Office were believed to be punitive. Cutting the budget to the county office that fulfills requests for payments, forcing staffing cuts, and furloughs delays those payments to every business who have, in good faith, provided goods and services to the county. So we have done our due diligence. My office has been extremely frugal. My office has been extremely responsible over the course of the last year, and we continue to do so. So I take great disdain for the record that was put out by the commissioners today in their response to this certain incident. This is not on the fault of the Lorain County Sheriff's Office. This is 3 elected officials that have a problem getting along with many other elected officials in the county, and the games need to stop. So with that in mind, I will take anybody's question here today. Yes, sir.
How did we get here?
We got here because, in my opinion, is that we have a budget process in which the commissioners are fully within their purview to align with that budget process. There are certain expenses and fees that I am the largest consumer of the general fund in Lorain County. We take up a majority of the budget. So therefore, there are a lot of things that we look at. My chief deputy and our staff have taken extreme cuts to make sure that we fit within the budget. If you go back through the commissioners' meeting, you'll see that we were continually praised by the commissioners for our fiscal responsibility, our budget cuts, and what we've done to fit within the budget. And so therefore, we have other projects that take place in the county, which we were told money had to come from somewhere to pay for some of these other projects. Every elected official in this county, judges, the recorder, the auditor, the prosecutor, we've all tightened up our budgets to meet that, but again, it wasn't good enough and they kept coming back for this. So therefore, this is a situation in which we have to make a case for our budget. We have to have better communication, because to go from $600,000 to $346,000, and especially on January 14th, when we sat down with Commissioner Riddell and Casey Saunders and told them this was impossible. We told you that this line item had to be $600,000, which we had already cut prior to that meeting on January 14th. So if the budget was approved in December, why are we still having talks in January?
One last thing. You said you got the check right there, so the situation seems to be resolved for now, but you still have some greater concerns, and that's why you asked us to come in?
Well, the greater concerns is I think the public of Lorain County needs to know that the elected officials of this county are having difficulty getting along right now. I know that they will want to blame that on me. Each elected official is responsible for their own comment, but yes, I have a problem with our 3 commissioners.
Here's where it gets real. 41 police cruisers potentially off the streets. Imagine the chaos. This isn't just numbers on a spreadsheet. It's public safety hanging in the balance. And yes, the sheriff calls it a crisis, but one that's very, very real.
Right now. Anybody else? Yes.
So when the commissioners put out their statement, they called this a manufactured crisis. Do you have a response to them calling us that?
I don't say getting a letter that says notice of default from our fleet management company, a manufactured crisis. We acted on this crisis. We have to protect the 322,000 residents of this county. And when I'm told that 41 of my vehicles are going to be repossessed, leaving me with 35 at that point in time, we have to take action to make sure that our shifts are appropriately covered, that our deputies can respond to calls in this county for the safety of the county. And so therefore, I had from yesterday to Monday to figure this out. So I call it a crisis, but not a manufactured one. Yes.
Did you speak to the commissioners over the phone or anything like that before taking this public?
About 45 minutes after I got this notice, I had spoken with Commissioner Gallagher about this. And as a matter of fact, this isn't the only issue that I spoke to Commissioner Gallagher about. We also have an issue regarding the employees' FSA accounts in regards to their insurance as well. We want to talk about irresponsibility in regards to how that was handled. That's for another day to discuss that. But I discussed that issue, which he was trying to handle for us. And to Commissioner Gallagher's credit, he was working, on that project to make sure that it could get fulfilled. I then advised him of this. And I said, this has to be addressed as well. But I said, we have to put notification out to our people that we have to address this because we're getting our fleet repossessed. So the chief deputy, at my request, put out an email last night to all the deputies in the office to prepare for the fact that we may have to turn vehicles into Middleburg Heights on Monday to make sure that we're getting our equipment out of there. Those vehicles are assigned individually to the deputies because they take care of them for the fleet, and we get more mileage out of our cars, they're treated better. So therefore, any items or the way that they had their cars set up, we started telling them last night to remove that. We can rescind that order now because as of about 2.5 hours ago, I did receive the 2 checks in order to send the enterprise, which that has been done as we speak, so, yes.
Okay, so I know the 2 checks, approval aside, going forward, I know you said there's still some concerns, but as far as your cruisers, I'm assuming they're going to be in good standing, and so in the future, who's physically supposed to, send these checks? You or the commissioner's office?
Well, ironically, we are in an age that we can use Venmo, we can use Cash App, we can do anything else. We do not have an electronic method to send the monies. Now, they'll probably blame the auditor's office on that. Somebody will be blaming the commissioner's office on that, but we don't have any ACH transaction. We could have sent this money electronically today to take care of that. We literally have to get a purchase order, we have to get the approval on that purchase order, and then we have to actually get the approval to send the check. The auditor's office then sends the check to us, we then mail the check out. Now, believe it or not, that is the fastest in government history. From the date that we got the default notice yesterday to this morning was probably the quickest this county has ever seen a check issued in the history of Lorain County. So,
voters and residents expect that their public officials and elected officials will get along. What are you going to do to make sure that things like this don't happen in the future?
we have to improve communication, and that is from our office, which if you've seen us appear at meetings, we're very transparent with our budget. We've kept the commissioners well informed and the public well informed of what we do with our budget. And I know myself and other public officials in the county would expect the same thing coming back from the commissioner's office as well. So therefore, the residents of Lorain County deserve a mature approach to their public officials getting along, constant communication. We have email, we have telephones, there's no reason that this should have taken place or this should have happened. The residents of this county expect better, and they have gotten that from the sheriff's office, and they will continue to get that from the sheriff's office.
Marty Gallagher says you should apologize to him and to the public for this manufactured crisis.
I have no apology for Marty Gallagher or the other two commissioners, but I do apologize to the public. To the fact is that we couldn't get this payment out soon enough. We do everything we can to make sure that we're fiscally responsible. There's a question back over here.
How many cruisers in total do you guys have here?
Well, right now we are looking at approximately 78 cruisers that we utilize on a regular basis. That also doesn't include some cars for corrections that they use for transport. We also have with our task force also, we have unmarked vehicles for that as well.
So were the 41 that were kind of in that might be repossessed, were they just specific deputies' cruisers, or were they also some of the other vehicles?
As far as I know, probably 90-95% of them were marked deputies' cruisers. There's probably one or two that were unmarked vehicles. So I don't know the exact answer on that, but that's what I'm going to assume. Okay, yes.
So how long does this carry you through, this payment that you're sending in today?
1 month.
Right.
Are you worried about next month?
Oh, I don't think so after today.
Are there any other financial landmines coming up with other things?
I think we have some financial landmines that we are trying to address with the commissioners. One of them includes our Deputies Association filed a class action grievance against me. I can't control the payments of the FSA accounts or anything else. That's something I know that it was a grievance was filed, and we could probably,
Whoa, right out of the gate, we see a hefty six-figure payment on the line. Already tensions are high. And notice the precision here, $57,031. In government budgets, every dollar tells a story. How do you think a small misstep in numbers could spiral into a full-blown crisis?
more prepared to talk about this today, but I know that issue is going to be coming down the road as well. Anyone else? All right, thank you all very much, and I appreciate your time today.
Could we get some video of that, the letter from Enterprise that you have up there?
Actually, would you like several copies of it made?
Yeah, like, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I did have one more question. How has your relationship been with the commissioners, from the beginning to today? Has it changed?
I think it's been very professional. We have been very communicative with the commissioners as well as all other elected officials in the county. We look to all the other elected officials that they're our clients, like the residents are in the county. So we want to make sure that everybody's served appropriately. And so with that in mind, we make sure that we communicate, but when we're not reciprocated, that's where the issue comes. And, today, or I should say yesterday, when we got notification that our fleet was 41 cars of our fleet were going to be repossessed. Well, that causes a little ire to any elected official, so.
Thank you.
Okay. And Inspector Van Zandt will have those copies. Oh, actually,
We want to redact the account number?
yes, please. Unless you guys want to pay our bill.
Start a GoFundMe for the cruisers.
Right. Speaking of GoFundMe for the cruisers, I do have to say that the outpouring of support by the community has been absolutely phenomenal, to including we've had private individuals and businesses reach out to actually say that they would make the lease payment if the county didn't make it today. They, support our deputies wholly. We've had a very good relationship with the community, with our deputies and how they respond. And to have a couple people reach out and say, I'll make the lease payment was very touching, so.